Okay, time to kick off. Thank you all for joining and jumping on. It's great, Kimberly. Thank you for your message in the chat. We at Pinpoint Works and underneath the Voly Group banner have been now for over 8 years trying to make the communication and documentation easier in our industry. So some of the main clients that we're working with at the moment are the biggest shipyards in the world, super yacht shipyards. We're working with some cruise ship as well, which is quite interesting. We're working with some of the biggest management companies, and then over 850 yachts in the industry. So we have managed to make a big impact throughout the industry in a space where there was never really a tool to help with the day-to-day communication and documentation. So this is our goal within Pinpoint Works, is to just streamline all of those work lists, all of the Excel spreadsheets, take you away from WhatsApp groups, long email chains, and bring you all onto one platform. Within the platform, it's very accountable, it's very transparent, it's what people need to be able to manage these yachts in the best way possible these days. So our goal is just improving the level of professionalism by giving not only the crew, but management companies, shipyards and contractors the best tools available to complete your works. Obviously, everybody is always under pressure. You will rarely run into anybody who is not saying, "Oof, we're a bit tight for time," or "Gee, it's a busy period." So when we are constantly working like that, you need the best tools, and we believe we have that for your work list and the communication and documentation. As you can see here, Pinpoint Works has the general arrangement. So what that is the location-based tracking, just to make everything as clean and clear as possible. The general arrangement, when you're zooming in and out, it is very easy to follow. When you're dealing with different languages, as you will be throughout a busy season, then what the location does is allows you to cut through the translation barrier in between some countries and some languages to make it as clear as possible. Because we know that even if we've got this location here, that could be the forward locker, the bosun's locker, the chain locker, it could be anything. So when you're trying to translate that, it does make things difficult. So that clear location is one of the keys and the reasons why Pinpoint Works has been successful for that documentation. You can share Pinpoint Works with anybody. So I would say 98% of yachts out there have an unlimited subscription, which means when you want to add a user, you can go up to the site settings and you can add a user into the system. When you add that user, you can choose from 3 different user permissions. If we're talking about contractors during the season or just sending off a work list, then a guest user to give them access might be the best for you. So if that was for the contractor, then we would just add contractor. You can restrict them to be able to see specific tags. So in this case, if we just wanted to give them access to the paintwork, by doing this, we can give them access to the paintwork. That tag will restrict them. So anytime that a tag is added to a specific point, then it will become visible for anybody who has that visibility restriction. When we click on the advanced access levels, we can also restrict what they see. We know that sometimes you're going to be working with sensitive fields, which could be estimates or quotes, or anything that just is not relevant to a contractor or crew member. Then we can just hide that from their view. You can use that one platform. You don't need to duplicate your work to be able to send it off to them, and therefore they can jump online and actually see exactly what they need to see with that real-time reporting. Another way, whilst you're managing your season, to be able to send off work lists is to export to PDF. The PDF export is going to format all of your photos and the general arrangement and all of the points that you have selected. So it might be, again, just the paintwork, or it might be a full refit list. Then we can export to PDF and you will get a report that looks like this. So no more formatting of photos into a Word document or anything like that. It's all done for you. We're going to format the GA location and then all of the photos. You can include or exclude any of the fields that are not necessary, and then have a document that looks like this. The last page of the document is the general arrangement with the locations of the points that you have exported. It's not the full work list, it is only what you have exported. So that becomes really important when you are sending off, let's say, mid-season, those work lists to the shipyards to try and get some quotes in, etc. That's a really efficient and easy way to be able to do that. In addition, if we were to look at any of these points, we do have our tracking. So Pinpoint Works has the motto of pin it, share it, and track it. The tracking is within our activity history. So any change that is made within the system is going to be timestamped and tracked. So that's all about the transparency and accountability for one, adding all of the jobs into the system, and two, knowing who did what when. No doubt you're going to be working with rotation and crew turnover as well, which is just a staple in the industry. So to know exactly who made what change when becomes even more valuable when those people are not on board. So if we scroll down to the bottom of the point card, the tracking we'll have here. I have 7 days ago added Andy as an assignee, and I've also changed the priority to medium. Let's change this to high priority, and you will see that the general arrangement color changes, and then also it will be recorded within our activity history. So now we can see that nice and clearly. So they are some of the really easy benefits to show of Pinpoint Works. But what I'll do is just run you through a few scenarios that you will be running into throughout this busy season to be able to paint the full picture of why it is valuable to keep those worklets up to date and keep documenting even whilst you're under the pump, you've got guests on, you're doing overnight passages, all of that, but still those work lists will never sleep. So one of the biggest benefits of Pinpoint Works is the mobile application. Here, just to show you how it works, adding or editing a point is very simple and easy. You can do that from the mobile app. Where we would recommend this works great is when you add the crew, and that can be heads of department, but then also junior crew members to give them access to some of their department sites to be able to keep on tracking any of the defects or the dings or any of the issues that pop up throughout the season, then it gets recorded in the system. So some people always will say, well, we don't want the junior crew doing this or we don't want them doing that. But by giving them this tool, it doesn't mean that the job has to get done, but you've got them invested in documenting all of the process for you. So when the crew are creating these basic defect lists or job lists throughout the season, then as a head of department, a captain, a technical manager, or any of your contractors, they can be seeing these lists created, and then you could approve them. You could use those photos for sending off for accurate quoting, but you don't have to do all the work yourself. And mainly I'm talking to the heads of department and the captain specifically, where sometimes you're thinking, woof, I need to create a full work list from scratch. But that is not the case. If you get the crew to be doing their part, picking up the defects, they're adding the photos and basically creating your report for you. If I look at the site settings on the left-hand side, we've got a few different sites that we always recommend for the day-to-day management. So we would have the deck list, we would have the engineering, the interior. So that is where you could just have any type of small job that can be recorded. The smallest jobs being recorded mean that in the future you do have something to look back on. You do know when somebody polish the bulwark, or you do know when somebody cleaned the oil in the engine room, or anything like that. So the smallest detail can become really valuable in the future. And when you're deep into the season, you might not see that, but if you can get everybody into the habit, then it will become very valuable. So I've shown you how the application will work. We've got these deck work lists, engineering, interior. In addition, we've got our projects. So we know that we will be doing a refit in spring. We might have an additional yard work. When the points have been added, or the jobs have been added throughout the season, if I was to click into this one here, we've got our corrosion. I can see that we've got our different fields. So we could have as many or as few fields within here, all customized depending on how much information you want. But the beauty of this is mid-season, when you do need to create that refit list and you do have some of these jobs, what you can do is click on the three dots and copy this job across to the official refit list. So if I go to our refit in spring, I can click, copy it across. I can include the activity history or not, so it can be sent across without any history. I can add the photos or not, the videos, the files, or the description. So if I wanted to copy everything from this job across, I would click copy, and then you have that starting point for your refit list. It's a very easy way to manage and just keep on building out that list without you having to start from scratch, because the work is already in the system with those department sites. You don't have to copy everything, but you will know anything that is going to be a major project and may need attending to during those major refits or projects. Okay, I've got a question here from Devon. Just one moment whilst I read it. Okay, Devon is looking for an additional status, or the ability to edit the status of points to be to match more or less his workflow. The suggested would be something that is sent to vendor, or awaiting quote, or approved. From that question, it looks like you've already got something like that set up, Devon, within the custom fields, and that would be the best way forward. At the moment, when we click into one of our points, we do have our default statuses, so open, in progress, to review, on hold, completed, or cancelled. And at the moment, they cannot be changed. So where you do need to add that personalized or customized workflow would be within one of these drop-down lists. So this would be a drop-down list. In this instance, we've got location, but that's where Devon is adding sent to vendor, or approved quote, or anything like that. So at the moment, Devon, that would be the best way forward for that process. Now, looking at some of the other features to help you see what's relevant, we do have our grouping feature. We also, if I remove the general arrangement, going to the top right-hand side, I can scroll across and I can see that we've got our location. We've got our estimate that is always going to be quite valuable. I've got the percentage complete, the approved by captain, approval date, final cost, and then we've got our US dollar cost. So let's say that this yacht is working in euros, but it may have its funding source in USD. So we're actually running a formula here to be able to create that final USD cost. Now, they are lots of fields, and when it is nice to view is when we do some grouping. So if I was to group by the approved by captain, this could be where you start managing and creating that work list or project list during the season. I can see here that there's 40 points from the deck work list that have not been approved. If we scroll down, I then get to the points that have been approved by the captain. And then the way that they have been approved is by adding the tick to the tick box within the point card. Therefore, if the captain was to come in here, he could quickly come in and say that these three jobs here are to be completed or have been approved, we could click edit, custom field, approved by captain, and now they will go into the other work list just by grouping that information. Again, to make that even more relevant, you might say, let's add the priority because I want to see by priority what has been approved and what hasn't. So if we add our priority, now I can see the high priority jobs straight away. So this might be a view that the captain wants to save because it's nice and easy for him to come in and then click one, two, three jobs and then have them approved. At the moment, there is no additional automations or workflows, so that will stay as documented within the deck site. But when you do want to filter that work and copy across 10 or 15 or 100 of those jobs into the refit list or the project list, then you can do it in a couple of clicks. So you're not duplicating the work or recreating anything from scratch. So if you aren't using your grouping at the moment, we definitely recommend that you do. Another reason why it becomes valuable is it will, whenever you do the grouping, it's going to automatically calculate some of those cost fields. So here we've got our estimate. I can see that within the high priority that have not been approved, there's 500,000 euros that has not been approved. So it can be a trigger as well to actually come in here and go, wow, what hasn't been approved because there is a lot. And then that makes it easy to come in here. I can see we've got 500,000 within the full top coat respray. And that might be something you want to move across straight away or something that you can say, well, that's a false flag. We don't need that. And then close that job out or not approve it. And then it won't come up within the list. The saved views is where you can run these filters and then save the view to anything that is going to be of value for you. So I've just run through the captain approved list, but if I wanted to see what has been completed, you want to check up on everything that your crew has been doing at any time, I can go into my completed works. So here I've just run the filter for anything that has been completed. I click on here and I can see all of that work. I could then click on the last updated to be able to see what was the most recent jobs that have been completed. But it's just a really quick way to flow in between different jobs or seeing different views of these jobs. You can also share that with other users. So it could be sharing it with the heads of department or even the shipyards. With that, here as an example, we've actually got our deck hit list, anything that needs to be done this week. So I can click on here, see quickly those high priority jobs that we want done this week. And then what I might do, just to make it easy for everybody, is export this to PDF, and then I could leave that on the crew mess table or anything like that. It's just different ways to be able to view the information that's in there and be able to make easier and faster decisions whilst you're under pressure during the season. On the left-hand side, we've also got a folder. So we've got our folders for guest trips, for handovers, for operational, projects, tenders, and warranty. So there's some of the standard folders that we do work with the other yachts and create. With the guest trips, you might be a charter yacht or you might have the boss on. So if I click into the APA damages, this site is a site where we may want to add anything that is damaged from throughout the season. So this is where your crew can add any damages. Let's say the jet skis, we know the jet skis are getting damaged every time we have guests on. We've added the damage. We can add the different department that's logging it. We could add any additional costs as well. So let's say it was a guest trip. We want to say that it's 500 euros worth of damage. We may add that into the system here. And what we can do is export this at the end of the charter and present that to the principal as well. So you might go through a list of all of the damages for each particular guest trip and then hand that to them. Sometimes that is taken care of with the APA, but it's a very quick and formal way to be able to present at the end of a charter all of the guest damages so that ultimately nobody's out of pocket and you can have the transference of money as quickly as possible. During the guest trips, we also have our guest setups. So this is just a nice way during the season for anybody to add the specific guest setups. Let's say we've got our exterior cushions. I'll click into the exterior cushions. Now we can see the exact location that we're talking about. We've got our photo for the exterior cushions. And then anybody or any of the crew will be able to come in here if they don't know where it is, or you could actually export this report and put it into a locker or something that is visible and easy to access. This again is a nice way to be able to say that this is the setup. However, if anything was lost, you would be able to then add a comment within here and start tracking the loss formally within the system, and then that can be seen by everybody. So that's the key, is as long as it's transparent as possible, something that might be minor for somebody, like the loss of a cushion, might actually be a major issue when you're talking about next week the boss actually comes on and we need all of these cushions. Then we've got another site set up for the owner's request. What's really nice about this site is it just becomes very specific. You will have the owner on. Usually there are requests. Every time that they do come on, there's going to be improvements or changes that they may want to make. So here you can have a specific site set up for that. Again, once it's set up here and the works may be approved, then you can quickly copy all of those into the refit list or the project list. And again, just not start from scratch. So it's just any comments that are made throughout the charters or the owner's trips, then you could just add all of that documentation here, even if they're the smallest things, but other people may need to find out about them. That's why you would add them as a user, and then they can come in here and they can actually see what has been said and when. When you're deep into the charter season and you don't actually know what is happening at any time on board, if it's a quiet period and the team is just polishing some stainless or working on some detailing, then you can come into the dashboard and check out all of that information. So here we can see that I've been very busy. I have made a lot of changes recently, but if I was to scroll down further throughout the history, you will see all of our crew adding photos, adding comments, communicating from within the system. On the right-hand side, we can see how many points have been created, how many comments have been made. So if there's been 4 comments made, they might be comments that you need to know about, and you can find them nice and easily from within the system. And then we've got our basic dashlets for our live status and priority on board. And then we can see those work lists being built out. So here's our yard work list. There has not been much change recently, but let's say we want to change and see our deck list. Now we can see a different graph as well without too much change. So there hasn't been too much happening on the deck at the moment, but we can see that there has been one job completed within the last month or since the start of the month. Just rolling down the left-hand side. So we've gone through all of our sites and then the ability to add folders to be able to store this information. We can upload tender drawings as well. So that might be of interest for the crew. Again, just to track those damages, anything that happens throughout the season. We do have a site here for warranty that can coincide with anything that maybe was not completed during a refit, but we can set up something specifically for that. Going down to our left-hand side, we can see our calendar. Actually, before I run off too quickly, I have a quick comment from Kimberly. So Kimberly is asking about the comments and if you can quickly see those comments from within the history. There's 2 ways of doing that. One would be checking the dashboard, but then it would be showing you all of the changes throughout that chronological history. However, anything that is relevant to you you will be able to go to the notifications on the bottom left. So if I go to my notification center, this is everything that has been personalized for me. So any of the points that I have created, any of the points that I have been assigned to, or any of the points that somebody has added a comment to me, I'm going to see those notifications within the notification center here. Then Kimberly, if we clicked on I was mentioned, this is where we're going to see all of the mentions for my specific points. So this is like my personal inbox from within here. I can see here that Kirsty has written a comment on point number 2, the paint repair on the swim platform. This is now high priority. Please send an update picture. I can actually comment from back here. So this is, again, one of the reasons why we want to take you away from WhatsApp or email chains and try and have everything kept within the point card. So if I say, I will, I will take the picture today, Kirsty will receive a notification because this is an at mention. Kirsty's going to receive a notification on her mobile device. Within the Daily Digest, it's also going to be registered. And then I can see it from within my system here. And it's also going to give you a red dot. So usually when a new notification comes up, you will see a red dot within the notifications panel here. So here are all of the at mentions that I have been mentioned in. We can respond as I just did, or we could give the thumbs up, a like that, yes, we've acknowledged it, but it may not need a reply. So that is one way to quickly come in and see everything that is relevant for you. I can click on assign to me. So the assign to me is going to show you all of the different yachts, or all of the different yachts, all of the different points that I have been assigned to. And when I'm assigned to a point, that's going to give me more notifications from within this notifications panel as well. So if I click on anything that is unread, these are all of the notifications. And if they're not relevant anymore, I can close them out. So when you are in the busy season and looking through those notifications, that's just going to keep you up to date in the quickest possible way. I hope I answered that for you, Kimberly. So going back to our calendar, Pinpoint Works now has a calendar. So it sits just above our notifications. And the calendar will look like this. From the start, our calendar does not integrate with any other softwares. So for the moment, it is only built within Pinpoint Works. What can we see within this calendar visual? We can see that we've got a calendar notification that has popped up within our system. So when it pops up within the system, we can dismiss it, we can snooze it. I can see that the notification is connected to a point. So here we've got the medium and open icons and the annual service for the LSA. So that is a notification. The notification is fire extinguishers away for annual service. So that's the notification and it's connected to a specific point. We can actually set notifications that are not connected to a point as well, but this one is. When you have the notifications set up for the calendar, you will also receive an email. So it's one of the only features that we have that will send you an immediate email. The reason being is what we're trying to do is to keep you away from the email overwhelm and just keep everything within the platform, which is why the notifications are valuable and the dashboard. In addition to the calendar, we also have, or let me show you how to add a calendar item. So if I go to let's go to a different work list, our refit spring. When I click into the point, at the top right-hand side of the point card, you will see a couple of icons. So this does load a couple of seconds slower than the actual point card itself, but here we can see our reminders. So that's the top right-hand side of the point card. I can click on the reminder and click set. So here is where I could have the name of the reminder. I could also to be to be purchased. I can add a further description if I want. I have connected it to the bridge sofa point. And then if I wanted this notification to go to somebody else, let's say to Andy, now I've been able to set that notification for somebody else. So that is fantastic. It is not a planned maintenance system, but what it is a great way for you to be able to get notified on any of those day-to-day tasks, the one-off tasks that are popping up. If there was a survey or an inspection for a specific work item, then that's another way to be able to notify somebody else within the system and then also keep yourself up to date. So here we could set our reminder and that will show up here and it will also now be in the calendar. To manage all of your works, we also have our timeline feature. This is an optional paid add-on. However, it just gives you a really quick and easy visual. You can drop and drag and start changing the date ranges of those jobs. And that is throughout the season a really nice way to be able to visualize what's actually happening. So I do know that some crew may even use it for the guest trips to be able to start planning out the guest trips. But traditionally it is used for all of your project management, not at the highest level of project management where you have lots of dependencies and everything incredibly detailed and structured. This is more for the quick day-to-day for the deck team to be able to add a date range for when a job is going to be completed and for everybody else to be able to see. So that is our timeline feature. Now, after all of that talking, does anybody else have any questions before I go to the last couple of small things? Now it looks like things are quite quiet out there. Um, Hopefully, that is a good thing. Now, for those of you that are managing multiple yachts, and I can see there is a few yacht managers on the call, then what I have not gone through is our fleet management dashboard. So for the highest level of yacht management, this is a fantastic way for you to be able to pull in the information of what is happening on those department sites, what is happening for those projects, and to get a good overview. So when at the basic level, when a junior crew member is adding a job, and then it can be approved by a head of department or the captain for the refit list, then the yacht manager could just come in here across multiple vessels and get a great update on exactly what's happening on board. If we take the example within the fleet management dashboard for Blue Sky, I can see we've got our 3 day-to-day work lists, our department sites. I can see how much work has been done by their progress, and I can see the number of points as well. So the number of points gives me a good indication of how active everybody is. It doesn't matter how small the jobs are, but it's great to record as much as possible. And then I can see our budget or estimate. Here we've got within the deck work list 596,000. Now, if you're a yacht manager, most likely that would be a number where you go, I need to find out more. I can quickly come into the deck work list and find out more. So in the end, you're not waiting for all of these surprises to hit you at the end of the season when it's, what are we doing with the work list? What's happening with the refit? We need to do everything yesterday. Here, you can be proactive, you can see what's happening day to day, and you can be in front of the game. Hopefully, that's going to lead to better efficiencies and ultimately more accurate quoting from the contractors because they have the time, and then more efficiency from the shipyard when the boat does arrive and it starts its work because all of those jobs have been quoted previously because they had access to the information. We're at the, in the arrow or on the arrow next to Modiop Blue Sky, I can dig a little bit deeper into the account as well. So here I can see a cost comparison chart. So again, that could be our budget against our approved budget. or it could be the estimate against our final cost. So what we're doing is from within any specific site, we can pull in two cost fields to be able to compare them. And this is where that visual will come. You could easily do a right click and copy those images if you did want to send it off in WhatsApp or an email. However, from within the system, it's very quick and easy to do. And then in addition to that, we do have our donut graph. What this is a list custom field, which could be a cost category, or it could be by location against a cost field. So here we've got our bridge paintwork, we've got our refit for the deck department, and then we have our interior refit as well. So again, just another visual that's going to be updating in real time so that you can get the best information possible to then go and execute those work lists or the next step, depending on what that is. So that will round out more or less all of the information that I had planned just to show you some of those sites, how to be active during the busy season, and then hopefully giving you some ideas of why it would be important. Please don't let the work list go throughout the season. But again, don't think that the heads of department or the captains are the only ones that can add the work into the work list. Wherever you can give access to the junior crew, then that information is going to become key and you can always build on it from there. Just got one more question here from Devon. Just asking about the recording. Now, all going well. I did click record, which I'm pretty confident that I did for the webinar. So, Devin, what we will do is we'll send out an email to everybody who has joined for the call with the webinar recording. So definitely please jump on, take another look, or feel free to contact me. So I'm happy for anybody to send me an email or a WhatsApp. My email address is stuartb@voly.com, stuartb@voly.com. And the phone number is, if anybody's got a pen, if anybody uses a pen these days, just to put it down and put it out there, would be +34605150388. So feel free to contact me at any time. In addition, anybody who has a current subscription will have an account manager. Get in contact with them if you want more ideas of how to use Pinpoint. We've got so many more processes. We've got some fantastic new build processes for anybody who's doing new build projects. But then also we've got more for deep storage, how to keep the locations up to date for that, how to keep the inventory more up to date. So there's no limit to the ways that you could be using Pinpoint Works. But you will receive a recording and we'll get in contact just to see if you've got any additional comments or feedback from there. I will stay on for another minute or so, just to round up. Okay, 1 second. Great question here from Thor. So, can you have two profiles on the same email address? This is a really big one. We do have a workaround for that. To give you all an idea why that could be useful is if you have Captain 1 and Captain 2 or multiple heads of department, which you will have during those rotations, then the way that we have worked out within the system to make it specific to each user would be this. Ultimately, it is dependent on your email exchange or however your emails are set up. But let's say you have rotational captains. The rotational captains can be set up within Pinpoint Works with an email that would look like this. So it would be captain 1 at the yachtname.com. So, sorry, be captain +1 at yachtname.com. What this would mean is that the captain, let's say in Thor asked the question, so it would be Captain Thor will log in always with this captain+1 email address. He will be logged with when he changes any of the activities as, let's say it's his first name, so it would be Thor. All of the documentation would then be correct. What can happen is if you're only using a captain email address, then you've got multiple captains, and then maybe it isn't as transparent as it could be with who made those changes. So then when the rotational captain comes on, or at any time, you can set up captain+2 at yachtname.com. Then it can be Captain Stewart. So Stewart and Thor are rotating out. That would be my login email address. Everything would be recorded underneath that. However, all of the daily digest, the email notifications would come through to your traditional email address, which would be just captain at theyachtname.com. So that's our workaround at the moment, Thor, but it is dependent on the email exchange or the email client, I think it is. So we do it regularly with Microsoft because we've got Microsoft email addresses, so that works perfectly. It is worth testing, and that will enable you to then add specific user profiles for each one of the heads of department, not just for the head of department underneath a generic name. So that was it. That's an excellent question and really useful for anybody who has rotational crew at the moment. If you need more details, again, contact me or your account manager, and we can send you a step-by-step on how you can test that within your own account. So thank you very much, and have a great week. We're only Wednesday, so I won't say weekend. And hopefully this has been of value for you. If you've got, let's say, any friends or colleagues who are not using Pinpoint Works, please forward on our name. It would be great to get them on. Hopefully they're not using Excel spreadsheets and long email chains and big WhatsApp groups. But we do know there's plenty of people out there at the moment still doing it, and hopefully we can make things more efficient for them. So have a great day, and thank you very much for joining, and chat to you all soon.